Have you ever found yourself feeling as though you're not getting the respect you deserve or not being taken seriously despite your best efforts? Perhaps you've noticed a disconnect between you and the people you're leading. Imagine you've been working hard, putting in the time and effort, coming up with new ideas and strategies, and yet you're not seeing the results you expect. Instead, you're met with indifference or even resistance. Or maybe you found yourself in a situation where you've taken up a leadership role, expecting people to follow and respect you because of the position you occupy. But it's not going as smoothly as you thought it would. You're sensing tension, resentment, and lack of trust from your team. Now you might think, I've tried everything, but nothing seems to work. But I assure you, even though it may feel like a tough hill to climb, it's not impossible. We'll explore real-life examples of people who've been in your situation, but were able to turn things around by altering their approach. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how entitlement can impact your leadership and how to effectively manage it. You'll also gain insights on how to foster a strong connection with your team and learn the importance of authority and leadership. Most importantly, you will learn how to establish your authority effectively. Always remember, being a leader means people choose to listen to you. They follow your advice because they respect and value your wisdom. Sometimes you might have to be strict and punish or reward to guide them. The less you need to do this, the stronger a leader you become. Your aim should be to encourage people to want to do things instead of being forced. You have to help them get past their hesitations and doubts. That's why I am going to explain you 7 tips that are so important to understand this dynamic. Make sure you use all of them. Tip number 1, find your authority style. Authenticity. You need to show your leadership in a way that feels right to you, using your personal strengths. Think about famous examples of leaders. One of these styles might be the best fit for you. One of the best styles is the deliverer. Like Moses or Martin Luther King Jr., these leaders work really hard to protect people from bad things. They hate injustice, especially if it hurts the group they care about. They believe in their cause so strongly and often speak so well that people are naturally attracted to them. Another style is the founder. These leaders create new ways of doing things in politics or business. They like to see what's coming up next, and they don't like keeping things the same. They like to be different and think for themselves. Their favorite thing is to come up with and create something new. People usually like to support founders because they bring changes that can be good. A similar style would be the visionary artist, like Pablo Picasso, the jazz musician John Coltrane, or the movie director David Lynch. These artists learn the usual ways of doing things in their field, and then they shake things up. They want a new style and they make it happen. With their talent, they always find people who like their work and follow them. Following are other types of leaders. The truth seeker. People who hate lies and political games. The quiet pragmatist. You just want to fix broken things and are very patient. The healer. They're good at finding what will make people happy and bring them together. And the teacher. They can help people to take action and learn from their mistakes. You need to find which type of leader you are, or maybe there's another type that fits you better. When you lead in a way that feels natural to you, it seems like it's part of who you are. The sooner you figure out your style, the better. You'll have more time to work on it, to change it if you or the world changes, and to show people new things about you that they'll find interesting and impressive. Tip number 2, focus outwardly. The attitude. People usually think about themselves a lot. They focus on their feelings, dreams, and their wounds. But you should try to change this as much as possible, and there are 3 ways to do it. First, get better at listening. Pay attention to what others are saying and how they're acting. Try to understand what they mean, even if they don't say it directly. Notice their moods and what they need, and if there's something missing. Second, work hard to earn others' respect. Don't think that people should respect you just because of your status or your achievements. Respect them by understanding their needs and showing that you're trying to do what's best for everyone. Third, realize that being a leader is a big job. You're responsible for the well-being of your group, and your choices matter a lot. You should care more about achieving the best outcome for everyone than about being noticed. Focus on your work, not on your pride. Think of yourself as part of the group, not above it. If you act like this, people will notice and be more willing to listen to you. They'll appreciate someone who cares about their feelings and is focused on getting things done. This will make you different from most people, and in the end, you'll be noticed and liked more because of it. Tip number 3, cultivate the third eye, the vision. In 401 BC, 10,000 Greek soldiers were stuck in a tough situation. They were fighting for a prince named Darius in Persia, but it wasn't going well. The soldiers were deep in enemy territory, and their leaders had been tricked and killed by the Persians. The remaining soldiers were scared that they would either be killed or forced into slavery. Among these soldiers was a man named Xenophon. He was there as a writer and had learned a lot from his teacher, Socrates, who taught him about the power of thinking rationally and seeing the big picture. Xenophon had an idea of how they could escape and return home. He thought they could sneak through Persia, leaving quickly to catch the enemy by surprise. Xenophon imagined them getting rid of anything that would slow them down, living off the land, and moving quickly even in winter. He also thought of using the help of the local people who were against the Persians. He had a clear vision of their escape route leading them back to the Mediterranean Sea and their homes. Even though Xenophon was not a soldier, his plan was so detailed and confident that the soldiers chose him to be their leader. The journey was long and difficult, but after several years, they made it back safely. Xenophon showed that clear thinking could overcome great challenges. This story teaches us about the power of looking at the big picture, staying calm, and having a clear vision for the future. Many people get caught up in the moment and panic, focusing only on the immediate problem. However, those who can keep a cool head and think of a bigger plan stand out as leaders. Just like Xenophon or famous leaders like Napoleon Bonaparte, we too can learn to think this way. We should train ourselves to stay calm and look at the big picture, to consider all possibilities, and to think about how things might turn out in the future. Once we have a vision for the future, we can then figure out a plan to make it happen. If we think hard about our plan, we'll feel confident about it, and others will believe in us too. If we face difficulties, it's a sign to think harder and keep going. With practice, we can develop this power to see the future and become true leaders. Tip number 4, lead from the front, the tone. As a leader, you need to work as hard as everyone else, if not harder. Always try your best and be fair. If tough choices are needed, you should be the first to step up. Doing this helps set a good example, like a teacher in a classroom. Others in the group will want to do better and be like you, not because you are telling them to, but because they want to impress you. It's very important that you start like this from the beginning. People often remember the first things they see, so if you try to act like a leader later on, they might not believe you. Also, you need to be a bit tough at the start. If people think they can easily get what they want from you, they will try to take advantage. You should be fair and firm. If people don't meet the high standards you set, they should face consequences. When you speak or write, be confident. People respect a strong leader as long as they don't fear them. If being tough isn't easy for you, try to learn how to be, or else you might not be a leader for long. You can always show your kind side later, but if you start out too soft, people might think they can walk all over you. Start working on this early in your career by setting high standards for your own work. Pay attention to how you speak and act and how it affects people. You might be surprised at the little things people notice. Tip number 5, stir conflicting emotions, the aura. People can sometimes be too easy to understand. When they're around others, they might act happy, friendly, brave, or caring all the time. They might hide the parts of them they're scared to show. But as a leader, you should be more interesting and surprise people. This way, they'll spend more time trying to understand you, which will make you seem more important. Let's say you're usually nice and caring, but sometimes you're a little bit strict about certain things. This is like how parents act. They show love, but also set rules. Kids then feel a mix of love and a little bit of fear, which makes them respect their parents. As a leader, you shouldn't get angry often. When you do get angry, because it's rare, it will have a big effect and make people really listen. You could be cautious, but also show boldness from time to time. For example, you might think a lot before making a decision, but once you decide, you go for it with lots of energy. This sudden boldness can leave a big impression. People found Martin Luther King Jr. interesting because he was both spiritual and practical. Queen Elizabeth was friendly, but also royal. It's also important to balance how often people see you. If people see you all the time, you might seem ordinary, but if you're hardly ever around, people might not connect with you. Try to be a little bit more absent than present. When you do show up, people will be excited to see you. These days, people share too much of their lives on social media. This might make you seem relatable, but also just like everyone else. Remember, talking too much can be annoying and show weakness. Silence, on the other hand, can attract attention and show control and power. If you mess up, don't over-explain. Admit your mistake, learn from it, and move on. If someone criticizes you, don't get too defensive. Show that you're above that. Early on, develop this interesting mix of traits to draw people in. But don't overdo it or you might seem crazy. Be true to yourself, but show a bit more of your different sides. This will keep people wondering about you in a good way. Tip number 6, never appear to take, always to give, the taboo. When you're leading a group, it's important to be careful with people's trust. If you take away something they thought they had, like money, their rights, or even their time, it can make them feel unsafe and unsure about you as a leader. They might start wondering if you're going to take more or if you're using your power in the wrong way. This can hurt your reputation. If things get tough and you have to ask people to give up something, make sure you're the first one to do it. And tell them it won't last forever and that you'll work to get things back to normal quickly. Be like Queen Elizabeth I, who always made sure she had enough resources to give out. That way, you'll never be in a position where you have to take things away. Also, be careful with making big promises. It might feel good to tell people all the great things you're going to do for them, But if you can't deliver on those promises, they will remember. If you do it more than once, people will start to lose faith in you. It's important to always keep your word so people don't feel let down. Tip number 7, rejuvenate your authority. Adaptability. As you do things that make people trust and respect you, your power grows. This lets you stay in charge longer and do big things. But when you get older, your power can seem stuck and old-fashioned. Even if people once admired you a lot, they may start to feel you've been bossy for too long. New kids may not find you as cool or interesting. They may see you as outdated. Also, as you age, you might become a little strict or bossy without realizing it, expecting everyone to follow you. This can make you appear unfair. People can sense this, and they like seeing new and exciting leaders. To avoid this, there are 2 important things to remember. First, try to understand how people feel, especially new and younger ones. You should always care about others' feelings because if you lose this skill, you might become trapped in your fame. Secondly, look for new people to impress. This will make you change and adapt. You don't have to try to act like a kid to appeal to younger people, but you can change your style a little over time. People like artist Pablo Picasso or designer Coco Chanel did this. This kind of change from your older keeps you fresh and cool, making your power feel new and exciting. By using all these 7 tips, you can establish your true authority over others.